Hello, and welcome to the Smokin Boots podcast. My name is Devin. I'm here with my two pals, Tyler Watson.
This is John Tyler Watson.
And Jason.
And my name is Jason Anderson.
Yeah. So we're starting this podcast because we sit around a lot of bonfires as buddies on Friday and Saturday nights, Memorial Day, 4th of July, all that good stuff. And we've been saying since probably like 2018 that we should start a podcast and talk about all the random things we argue about and talk about, and all the group chat conversations, things like that. So we met Tyler a couple years ago, and he knows a little bit about computers, so we got him to help us with that stuff. And so boys, how we doing?
Doing good, Jason.
Doing good, man.
It's a little late for you.
It's way past my bedtime, man.
Way past Jason. I'm going to assume for the first probably 30 episode, this will only be people we know listening to us, but Jason gets to bed very early, so
9 o'clock.
we've kept him up at 10:06 as of this, so we're probably an hour and a half past his bedtime, but he's a trooper, and we're in this to make money, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I guess we can roll around and do a little introductions, a little bit about ourselves. Like I said, it's probably most of the people we know listening at the moment, but I can go first. Do you want to go first?
I can go first.
Send it.
I'm John Tyler. I'm about 21. 21 years young. Just kidding. I'm 26. Working at a large company in cybersecurity. I've been doing that for about a year. Before then, doing system administration work. And before then, I was going to school at UNC Charlotte for computer science. Grew up here in Concord, North Carolina, all my life. So it's a bit about me. How about you, Jason?
Got any big events coming up? Anything planned?
Getting married October 1st. If you want to come, it's open attendance. Just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. Got engaged in December. So that's big things coming for me. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, my name is Jason. I grew up in Concord for my whole life. Let's see. I went to school for engineering at UNC Charlotte as well. Graduated college in 2021 in the midst of COVID. And now I work for a large power company in the Southeast. And really excited for this podcast because we have been waiting to do this for a long time and just did not possess the computer knowledge on how to actually fabricate something like this and get it going. So
We need to look up. I bet it was probably 2017,
Oh,
2018 that we
back
started
when I
talking.
graduated.
Did you have the name down?
Back then it was Boots and Bonfires.
Yeah, I think we
That's
started with
right.
Boots and Bonfires, and then, well, I guess we can explain the name now. Smokin Boots comes from mainly Jason's boots resting up against the edge of whatever bonfire we're sitting around and getting them quite hot and steamy. So
Shout out to Area.
yeah, shout out Ariat. If you want to sponsor us, we wouldn't be mad.
I would not be mad.
Also shout out Jason, the only one wearing boots right now, to
That's
the
right.
Smokin Boots podcast.
I can't prove I'm not wearing boots.
Thanks. We will. We'll get on that though. But yeah, so Smokin Boots comes from Jason's boots, or whoever's sitting around the bonfire resting their feet on the fire and getting a little smoky. So we figured, hey, what better name for our podcast?
Sounds about right.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
Oh, you're good, man. Really excited. I'm also engaged and getting married May 25th of next year.
Open invites.
It
Yeah,
is
what's the
not
address for that
open-
again?
It is not open invitation. So yeah, big plans and needing a little extra cash on the side. A little bit of passive income. Figured talking with the boys could produce something like that.
Not sure if you're supposed to talk about making money on the first episode of a podcast, but we did it.
You gotta shoot high.
I mean, if we make $0, this will be hilarious to look back on
That's
in 20
fair.
years and be like, I remember when Jason thought he could blah blah blah, and we.
It's fair. Then you
But
have
I
it
mean-
to save it.
But I mean, the worst thing, and it's not even a bad thing, if we don't even make money. We got a solid hour of boys' conversation.
You got memories documented.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah,
They're
that's right.
there for everything.
That's right.
But pass it back over to Devin.
Yeah, what's our first topic?
We're gonna introduce
Trying not to
Yeah,
leave.
introduce myself.
Introduce
Most of you guys
yourself.
don't care. I mean, then we.
John Tyler's ADHD got to him.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's all good. It would take Adderall one day and do an episode. That'd be a great time. We've never done that.
Cut that out, probably.
No, it's okay. I'm Devin, 25. You know, a few years behind John Tyler, and he's getting up there in age a little bit. But I, like Jason, me and Jason grew up going to church together here locally in the Charlotte/Concord area. We've known each other since probably like, I don't even know, elementary school probably. So yeah, I grew up going to church together. Went to rival high schools across the county, where I had the pleasure of watching our team whoop up on him in football a couple times my senior year.
With him on the team.
Yeah, with him on the team. Shout out to Jason for being a good long snapper though.
I do have the letter from Alabama.
It does have a letter from Alabama. Anyway, yeah, so I went to school for business and marketing. I've kind of bounced around a couple full-time jobs recently. Over the past couple years. Started at Nike, swoosh life. Spent about 6 years there. So those of you that know me, that's where my expansive Jordan collection, it's not worth much, so don't come steal it from me. That's where that comes from. Then I sold cars for a little bit, sold Volkswagens, me and Tyler both, well, he was a proud owner of a Volkswagen. So sold cars for a little bit. That was a good time. And then now I've moved on to a marketing job, work for a food broker, the biggest food broker here in the Southeast. And I'm loving it at the moment, kind of working my way up there, going through some training programs, doing that. Bring home lots of free samples, so I'm sure we'll be snacking on some podcasts that's usually brought home for free, which we love all the candy and
It's fantastic.
all that good stuff.
What's the address of that office in case anybody wanted to come see?
We'll put it in the bio.
Okay.
We'll put it in the description.
All right.
So yeah, that's about it. I mean, I know all of us listen to podcasts and really love it, and I was like, hey, this would be pretty sweet. And we have, like I said, jokingly mentioned it for years and years, and I came on kind of quick the past 2 weeks. We were just like, all right, we're gonna do it, and we
Start ordering stuff.
It's like one of those things where you say you're going to do something.
Yeah.
You never set a date with somebody.
Yeah.
You just say it for like 4 years and then.
Yeah.
finally
But
set a date.
boom, here we are. Yeah, Tyler started ordering us some stuff. We're rolling on one microphone right now, but we've got 2 other ones. We just got to get them all
Get them all sorted out.
synced up and working. But so yeah, then we can do some ASMR and each have our own microphones.
That's right. Dogs might make appearances. Who knows?
Maybe some dog appearances. That'd be
Anything crazy could happen.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, I guess we can just openly discuss what we think we want to do with the podcast. I guess kind of our main goal is to just have conversations, bring up past arguments. Probably, I'm sure we'll have future arguments.
I got one brewing already.
Okay.
Oh boy.
You want to discuss it this episode, or you want to book it?
We could.
Okay.
If I want something new.
Just jot that one down for a second. We'll gin sake and circle back to it. Yeah, so we'll just bring up lots of old conversations, new conversations. I'm sure we'll talk sports. We got some big news in golf the past couple days. There's a lot been going on there with the LIV situation, PGA Tour situation. I mean, I could nerd about that for 2 hours, so we won't.
Shout out Wilson Johnson.
We won't do that. What are we thinking for recording? Do we want to record? We're recording on a Wednesday right now. Do we like Wednesdays? Do we want to upload on Fridays?
I think we'll have to
Kick off the
See.
weekend with an episode?
see how the editing process goes, John Tyler.
The what?
Editing process,
That's right.
upload, and what all that looks like.
I might be having a whole shift change soon, but hopefully it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, we're going to try and do this unedited.
I think we're doing good so
Yeah,
far.
so far.
That's the significant other's concerns is that we'll be canceled, but I think we'll be okay. Also,
They're
shout
worried
out
about me canceling.
shout out my significant other. She gets a free shout out because she's legally bound to me. We got married a little over a year ago in February 2022. I forgot what year it was for a minute. February 2022 to me and Jason's youth pastor, his daughter. That sounded weird. She is our youth pastor's daughter. She's a sweetheart for those of you that know her. Maybe we'll get her on for an episode. Probably have her preview these before we post
Hopefully
them.
not in a chair right there. Hopefully more like a.
Yeah, well. Also, we could potentially do some of these around a bonfire, but the fire crackle. The AC was a little loud during these testing runs.
You can turn the sensitivity down, but you just can't if it's in between all of us.
We could actually experience Smokin Boots on the Smokin Boots podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll get us some nice cameras here in a little bit once we maybe start getting blessed with some area sponsors or ad revenue. Maybe we'll have a boot cam that's just constantly shining down at like bonfire level and
split camera view.
Yeah, so we can do jump cuts between the person talking's face, but then every now and then we can cut down to the boot cam. We'll send you down to the boot cam, brought to you by Ariat. I like that. Or Duraflame, whoever wants to.
Start the fire.
Duraflame, sponsor our.
I think get all of our certain needs.
I think a lot of the topics are going to come from things that we argue about that the significant others just get tired of hearing about.
That's exactly what I have in my mind.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because we go off on, and sometimes these conversations are hard to have over text and group chats because there's so many thoughts going. I'm sure it's the same for you guys, but going through my head, and I'm like, I can't type all this out. I can't really run through my argument and dominate Jason and put him in the ground over text.
Right, it's hard to have an argument without trying to dominate Jason in a text message. Right? So.
I'm sure Jason has some hot takes.
That is,
and,
I do have hot takes.
Him, like our buddy Luke, will ride them to his grave.
I can be swayed.
We could show Jason can be swayed.
Jason convincing.
But he's a hard nut to crack for sure. Yeah.
Schweiker Cruz.
Yeah.
Better than all of us.
That's right.
So that'll be the main thing. I'm sure we could do some cool guests and interviews. Maybe get that old youth pastor on here for an episode. KK, if you're listening to this, come on with it. Yeah. So I guess for now we'll shoot for Wednesday's recording because I don't think we have anything on Wednesdays really.
That's right. Starting at 10 p.m. every week. Just kidding.
Hopefully,
the goal was 9 this week.
Yeah.
And that was late.
I mean, maybe if we do it during this while the sun's still up on some one day, we can open the garage door behind us. So we can have a nice little semi-outdoor indoor vibe. But
get a little dog out here running.
Yeah, some little doggos running around. And then also, I think we should figure out some way to bring Jesus into the podcast too. I think that would be a cool idea. I don't know how we want to do it. There's not going to name names unless they want us to name names, but
Bunday SoCast? Is that what you're talking about?
Bunday Swocast? Yeah. Some of our fellow brethren kind of motivated us to do this podcast because we've talked crap about this for like 5 years. And they've recently started a podcast a couple months ago. Seemed to be doing pretty well, having fun with it. And I'm like, you know what? This is something that us bozos can do. So, yeah, shout out to them. Maybe we can collab, have a little Smokin Boots X, that other podcast name.
That's right. Maybe a rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. That'd be a division in the church. I don't know.
I don't know. We will. Our guys will get in touch with their guys, and
That's
we'll
right.
have discussions.
We'll just leave it TBD.
Yeah. We'll see whoever gets 1 million followers first. Potential buyout of the other podcast. Maybe I don't know. Well, we'll chat with those guys. Maybe get a little collab.
I think they were being pretty cryptic with their podcast name. I don't think anybody would get that.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody else. They might be able to figure it out. Anyway, no, I've listened to all but like 2. I think I missed like episode 3 of their podcast, but I've been listening to those, and I'm like, we can do this. Seems like a good time.
I feel like the best thing to do is to go throughout the week and just like write down things that we want to talk about, and then don't mention it. Specific things, don't mention it. Don't have arguments about it beforehand.
That's
fresh.
hard.
No, it's not.
Because if there is something that is just a hot take,
no, something that
100% getting a text in the group chat.
We can rehash.
No, something like you experience. And you're like, you know what? I bet this would be a good thing to talk about. Write it down on your notes on your phone.
You're saying like if I get in a road rage accident and fight somebody on the highway,
I'll be like, you think I was right in doing this kind of thing? Not in an illegal way or anything like that. But
Sure. Okay. Alrighty, so I guess we can jump into our first topic. I kind of jumped off on the Jesus tangent. Let's think of some way to incorporate that too. I think would be cool because we all grew up in church. Tyler recently joining our church as of a couple years ago. Him and his fiance, yet to join, potentially
to come,
maybe potentially. So anyway, yes, they are actually new additions. I only knew Tyler for a year and had him in my wedding, and he was a great addition. Him and his.
I technically knew Jason in high school.
Yeah, I didn't know that. We looked at each other from across the cafe in our church and kind of did like the Spider-Man meme thing, like, I know you.
I think we were in a weightlifting class at least
100%.
once.
That may have a mutual friend through high school.
That's right. That's right.
He's in your wedding too.
That's right. That's right.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
So, me and Jason known each other for a really long time. We met Tyler probably like December. What did we decide? Like December 2020,
Sounds about right.
maybe. Got brought to our church,
I remember meeting you
and
at
then
our pastor's house at a bonfire.
I think
That was the first time I met
was that
you.
first
before?
time I
Was that
remember-
before Snowbird?
The first time I remember being here is that Super Bowl party. I think it was the first time I ever came here.
Yes,
100%.
and that was probably like 2 weeks after Snowbird. Snowbird's the first time I remember like actually talking to you.
And
Yeah.
spending quality time.
Yeah,
Yes.
you got to meet Jay Knight and see some of his qualities.
I walked in on him using the bathroom. He just had the door ajar at your house during the Super Bowl party.
Yeah, no, I was
First time
thinking,
ever meeting him.
I was thinking about it in the cabin in Snowbird, but
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. He's a character.
if you know, you know. Yeah, so Tyler met Jay Knight. He has requested to have an episode, and he absolutely will have an episode.
Is that so?
I think he's got to. The boy's got some good stories.
A lot of memories.
Entertaining character, and he's gonna, I'm sure, listen to this actually because he seemed kind of excited when I brought it up. So, Jay, if you're listening to this, you're my only brother-in-law, but you're a pretty cool one. You're my favorite and also my least favorite brother-in-law.
The best one.
Actually, Cameron's a brother-in-law too.
Oh.
Ooh. Sorry.
Okay, I'm
redact all of that.
Cameron, shout out Cameron. He'll get a free one on this one. Cameron was our first Instagram follower, so if you're not following us on socials, I've already nabbed up most of the social media profile names, I guess.
That's right. Smokin Boots podcast.
At Smokin Boots podcast.
That's right.
On pretty much everything except Facebook. I couldn't get that figured out. Maybe I'll get my mom to. Like,
Facebook's too old for that.
yeah, I just couldn't figure out how to add a second account and like tie them together the way that you do on Instagram.
I don't know if you
and
need
stuff
to,
like
or if you can just make a page and make yourself the administrator. I don't know how that works.
I did tech guy stuff. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're looking to hire a social media manager.
Preferably very low cost.
Yeah.
Low cost, high performance.
Preferably the kind that likes to just come for a good time and help out. Yeah.
Likes to notify me when my boots are on fire.
Yeah.
Or smoking.
Yeah.
Be useful.
Where are we at?
First topic.
First topic. Okay. So I've written down some things this past week.
And these are all from Devin's brain. Me and John Tyler have no idea what's coming. So
Yeah, we've kept this. I don't know. If
I got
this-
one thing I want you to explain to me the importance of as well.
Okay, go ahead.
So the F1, how they lifted Mercedes' car up on a train, on a crane,
Yes.
and all the teams saw the other side of Mercedes' car.
Yeah.
I saw a comparison of Mercedes' car and like some other,
And I think Red Bull got lifted up too.
but I saw a comparison of Mercedes and some other not as big name car, and they look completely different. Like the Mercedes has like aerodynamical
Yeah.
can't hide
inlets
one.
down the side. So
Yeah.
explain to me
Um.
how. Well, first of all, why was it in the air?
Well, this was at the race in Monaco, Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
I think it was in practice or qualifying, and I don't remember if it was Lewis Hamilton or George Russell wrecked, and they just I've never seen a car get lifted that
The
high in
car
the air.
didn't look
That was
destroyed.
preposterous. Just lift the car.
It also didn't look destroyed in the air.
No,
It was
no.
fine.
I mean, usually they get a little crane, like a skyjack kind of thing, and lift it up and put it on the back of a truck bed and drive it off. Why it was 30, 40 feet in the air, I don't know. But yeah, I think it happened to Mercedes first, and they were very pissed about their car being up in the air and everyone being able to take pictures
Right.
of
Right.
the underside. So no, I saw those pictures as well, and I don't really
It's
have
kind of
good-
the same thing how like when the back cover gets blown off and everybody can see what they're doing with the engine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't really have an explanation for why that happened, but they were pissed, and then either the same day or like the next day it happened to Red Bull too, and they were like, okay, what is going on? Like,
Was it at Monaco too?
Yeah. So
Unreal.
yeah, because Formula One, and I'm by no means a Formula One expert. I've watched every season of Drive to Survive and watched the past like 2 seasons.
He's an expert.
No, by no means an expert. I do really enjoy it. Wish I'd watched it more of my life, but yeah, no, I've never seen cars lifted up like that, and to see them pissed off about it was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, as far as their like aerodynamics and stuff,
they're revealing like all their engineering.
Yeah, and I mean, they've just got way more money than little old like Williams or whoever.
Yeah,
you know, and so I mean, it is kind of like a cheat sheet, I guess.
Because then 90% of the cost goes into the research and development of figuring out how that works, right?
Yeah.
And then other teams can just copy it.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of. I mean, they're like a quarter of the way through the season. I don't know that you can just go and like
Drastically.
I don't know how they would benefit from that, but
They
to have pictures.
a separate car.
Yeah, but to
Yeah.
have pictures of the competition's car is pretty
How much
hilarious.
does that F1 car cost?
I don't know. I've seen videos. This is something we could look up. Tyler's phone's doing the video, so you can't look it up. Or I mean, you have a computer right in front of you.
Sure.
We are recording, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you imagine? I don't know. I've seen video compilations at like the end of the season, how much each person is cost their team, and it'll show like all of their wrecks and pile all.
To $16 million.
Yikes!
Yeah, I'd say 10 to 15.
Yikes!
Yeah.
So I mean, but I someone on another podcast that also knows a lot about F1 might could answer this on our collaboration episode. But I think they only have like, I mean, they don't. It's not like NASCAR where you've got 50 chassis back at Hendrick Motorsports. Go Hendrick, by the way.
They're still from NASCAR.
Yeah, but so I don't know. Like, I think they only build a couple of them, or maybe even one of them per driver, and they just repair that one. Like, I think they build their chassis for the year, and unless it gets cut in half, I mean, I think that's.
Are they still replacing the engine every race? Like,
so they've got things like that, like the gearbox, the engine, all that kind of stuff. You can replace them like so many times a year. So
like the tires per race, you get that many engines.
The tires.
per year.
Yeah, the tires, I mean, you get obviously several sets of tires per race, but the engines you might get like 3 gearboxes for the season. So you might want to change it, be conservative with it, and make it last a really long time, and then you get 2 fresh ones for the end of the year. However you want to do it. But they start wearing out, and you've only got a certain number of those. But
Gotcha.
yeah, so I think for the most part, they take stuff off. Like if somebody snaps the front axle, wings they replace during the race if somebody messes up their front wing, but like major parts, I think they just rebuild on that one chassis. So now that the couple of girls that were listening have tuned out, after that conversation, we're talking about whatever we want.
That's right.
Was that what you were going to bring up? Your one discussion topic, or did you have something else?
I got one more. I want to
I got one more too if you want to talk about North Korea.
I'm good on that, actually.
Okay, well, fire away.
I think we can all agree every time we've been together with the significant others, they all want to hear about the ship of Theseus, right?
Oh,
So,
boy, going
should we-
into it.
Should we? Let's
So-
describe.
Down the rabbit hole.
So-
we go.
I kid you not, that's point number 1.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
Was it actually?
Yeah. Ship of Thesis. After intro, ideas for the podcast, blah, blah, blah. Ship of Thesis. I mean, honestly, there's no right answer to the Ship of Thesis.
We have to
question,
describe what
but-
it is first.
Yeah. So, who wants to take a stab at it?
So my understanding is, I don't even know who the dude. I don't know if it was Thesis that was the name of the dude.
Well, I saw this. I'd never heard of it until I watched WandaVision on Disney Plus.
Oh.
and I saw it on WandaVision, and I was like, that's an interesting concept. That's going to put Jason's brain in a pretzel. And
It sure
I brought it up at a bonfire. And
Yeah, everybody was outside. And he's like, Jason, I want you to watch this video. So I went inside.
For like 15 minutes. Like a 15-minute
by
video.
myself. And
we're all looking at him through the window, and he's sitting there scratching his head and like focusing on the TV.
because it is interesting. I think the dude's name's Thesis, or I don't know, whatever the dude's name was. But he came with the concept of trying to find out. So you have a boat.
Right.
All right. So the question is, if you remove one board of that boat, like let's say it dry rotted, and then you put a new board on it in its place, is it still the original boat?
No, the question is the major question is, so over time, if you're slowly replacing piece by piece of the boat over time, and then you eventually replace the entire boat with new
Right.
pieces. Is that the same boat, or is it
completely different?
Is it a new boat?
But this is how they broke it down in the video. They said, so if you take one board out, first one dry rots.
Right.
Is this the same boat just from one board?
I feel like
And then
most people
let's
would
say-
agree that it's the same boat.
Let's say an anchor falls out, drops in the
next
middle of the ocean somewhere. You replace it and put an anchor
You've
on.
got to have another one. So is that? So I mean, and you just gradually go. It's like, all right, at what point does it not be? Do you wait 50%? Like, I guess, like let's say, like just the front half of the boat gets redone.
We're talking like a pirate boat because
Yeah,
it's easier
yeah.
to understand.
Yeah, like a
like a
blackbird.
Christopher Columbus
Yeah.
blackbird.
Blackbird,
Blackbeard.
Blackbeard.
Right.
North Carolina pirate back in the day.
Come on.
He like let's use on one of his boats. Like if you cut it in half and replace the half, it's the same boat.
Most people would argue it is. I mean, it depends really. It depends.
I think it depends on the importance of the pieces that you replace.
I think it depends on the setting and the speed. So like, if it's a boat that's being sold, all the parts are replaced, and it's given to a new person, well, that's a new boat. But if you're placing like a quarter at a time to the same team, every time they use that boat, it's not going to be a new boat. It's just going to be a better version of the old boat.
Or to the seller, it's still the same boat that he just did upgrades to.
That somebody else just owns.
Yeah.
So it's all perspective.
Because like when he looks at it, he's like, that's my boat.
My initial thought is kind of like what you said, and the 50% thing is like once you cross 50%, well now it's a majority replacement parts than it is the other.
Statistically, but that's you got to think about psychologically.
Right. And I think that's where this really comes down to is like what you think, your perspective on it or how you perceive the boat. But like, what if I replace, a bunch of pieces of the boat and I give it to a museum and it sits in a museum for 100 years and it starts getting dusty and they start changing it out. I mean, I donated it as the USS Devon.
Yeah.
And they, like 400 years from now, like Jason said, it starts rotting and they switched it out. I mean,
You got one?
So like dinosaurs are fossils, right? They pull up one bone and then they make a skeleton.
Okay.
Is that actually the skeleton? Is that the original skeleton?
I mean, if they made the bones, the rest
I mean,
of the bones, I
but
would say no.
apparently, like some of these are like complete. But I mean, if you change one bone out, is it still?
Going out on a tangent, but if you look at the skeleton of a platypus, you wouldn't think it's a platypus because the tail, that's all like muscle and tissue. I'm just saying.
No, you're kind of right. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, like you don't really. I mean, I think you can see beaks, but like stuff like tails and stuff like that, you have no idea because it's just bone. And
So we
the rest
actually
is
don't
just
know what
muscle.
dinosaurs actually look like.
You can't really know.
So like Littlefoot and Jurassic Park are just completely terrible renderings.
I mean, if you imagine that they're all lean, then you can get a good picture because then you can just make them all skinny. But you can't really picture where the muscles and stuff are going on. You know what I mean? When you think of a platypus tail, how would you be able to predict that?
Platypi tail.
I suppose.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know. There's not a right answer to the ship of pieces. But the video that you watched had 3 or 4 different kinds of boats. Like the first one was one piece done.
Right.
Another one was like
50%.
half of it. The next was like 3/4 and all done. Something like that.
Yeah, that was the breakdown.
Something like that. And I don't know. I mean,
I lean more like once you hit 50.01. I think it's a different boat. But I mean, again, like
Purely, you're thinking purely
you're looking at
statistically, but you would call it a new boat.
well, I mean, because
What would
only the people
would you
you would
refer
know.
to it as a new boat? It was the question, not statistically. Would you refer to it as a new boat?
No, I would
the-
not refer
is the
to it
ship
as a
of
new
pieces
boat.
question.
No, I would not refer to it as a new boat. I'd refer to it as the same boat.
Right.
and this could apply to anything. Like I think the example I first used was like Jason's truck. I'm like, well, what if we start restoring his truck? I mean, I guess
Well,
if you own it, it's always going to be Jason's truck. But if we start repainting and putting new body parts, new tires, brakes, engine, all that kind of stuff.
If its name is Betsy originally, and you start changing everything out, is it still Betsy?
It's
or is it a new
point.
truck?
Got a nickname at birth, then.
Old Blue. Nice truck.
But I don't know, man. It's just one of those things. Like, because like if you walk into a museum, you don't know like how much of the boat they've recovered. Like, let's say they had Blackbeard's boat sitting in the museum somewhere, like in the Smithsonian. They're gonna tell you that's Blackbeard's original boat. But only the people that recovered are gonna know how much of it's actually been replaced by them and then made to look weathered.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
So
You
I think
go
it's,
over here to the Charlotte airport and go to the museum and see the plane that landed on the Hudson. It's not really the plane that landed on the Hudson. Who knows? They could have put new slides in there. Could have put a new door on.
Is that at the? You said the Charlotte or the?
Charlotte Museum at the airport?
Yeah.
There's a museum at the airport.
There's an aviation museum
Charlotte Douglas.
Yeah.
Why is it at Charlotte?
because he took off from here
Did he actually?
or was coming here.
Ah,
It took off at LaGuardia and we're headed
I
for
didn't know.
Charlotte.
I've been to LaGuardia.
Hmm?
I've been to LaGuardia.
You've made the LaGuardia to Charlotte.
That's
Like,
right, I have.
You did it better than
No
they did.
rivers were involved.
No rivers were it's typically a good thing.
Praise the Lord. But yeah, it's in a hangar there. They got a whole museum. They got all kind of they got other planes and stuff there too. But it's not as big as like the one in Ohio, like the Air Force Museum or anything like
Yeah,
that. But
that thing. Have you been to that one?
I still haven't been to the Smithsonian in D.C.
Dayton, Ohio. If you strictly for aviation and not spacecraft, the Dayton, Ohio Museum is
the
better.
space stuff's cool
No, I'm saying just for aviation, the Dayton Museum is better.
than the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for aviation.
I've been to both. They're both pretty sick. I've been to another one somewhere and I can't remember where.
For space, the
Florida,
Smithsonian
maybe?
is better. I mean, they have a legitimate nuclear silo with like missiles, like real size, decommissioned.
Wow.
It's cool.
That's gotta be dangerous.
I did do the ones.
Decommissioned.
I did do the ones in Florida because we did a Florida trip a long time ago and went and saw like NASA museum and all that kind of stuff. That's freaking sick.
I'd like to go back there.
We should do a podcast there.
Where?
NASA, if you're listening, we'd love to come
NASA.
out.
I feel like you don't even need a sponsor. Just let us
Here, okay. I was about to say if our boy Greg, I bet he still has some connections to NASA.
Rocket science.
If I'm allowed to say that.
Well, we can bleep it out.
I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, I mean, this is, oh dang, I forget what this is called. There's something where, it's like the rule of something? And so basically it's like this idea turns out to probably be true, but that any given person is only like 5 jumps away from any given person. So like,
Knowing somebody? You
Yes.
mean? Yeah.
look, see if you can look it up. I forget what it's called. I think it's like rule of 6 or something like that. So basically, like me, you pick 2 people. I've seen them do it on Google, 2 random pictures and find connections between them. But basically, it's saying there's only 6 connections between any 2 people. So like I could say
6 degrees of separation.
6 degrees of separation. Yes. So in theory, me and Tiger Woods, there's only 6 people between us. So like,
What's the degree of that? Like friend, acquaintance, met them.
yeah,
Shake their hand.
like. I
Like
mean,
an
I'm sure
introduction.
running into them at the mall probably counts, but
Yeah.
like,
No chance.
yeah. So I mean, start thinking about it. Like, okay, like me and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, it
goes
is
to
also
me.
known as the 6 handshakes rule.
Yeah. So literally, people you've
Okay.
come in contact with. So it could be me, Andy, Dale Earnhardt Jr. That only took 3. If you want to go me to Dale Earnhardt Sr., we just Dale Jr. to Dale Sr. Boom,
You're
4.
talking about in the country?
That could be anybody. I've seen them do it to like I don't know, Martin Luther King and like Abraham Lincoln. And like, I mean, it's a little easier when you do celebrities because I mean they meet thousands of other celebrities in their life.
That's true.
But look at it. I'm sure it's all over TikTok. You can probably find some
6 degrees of
Yeah.
separation.
really cool concept that just kind of made me. That was a little tangent, but
But this is exactly why we created the podcast, because significant others would
Yeah.
could have cared less.
yeah,
Very interesting.
yeah. I mean, think of somebody cool.
There's actual research to it. Sociology researchers.
Yeah, like it's a legit like
I'm not going to cite
theory.
anything.
But like, I mean, if you're just doing it by handshakes, I mean, you shake hands with a lot of people, and not know anything
Yeah,
about them.
but so like
I feel
mean,
like the degrees got.
we could do you and like I don't know Lyndon B. Johnson. And I mean, I'm sure you have shaken hands with an old guy at our church who served in the military with another guy that was 20 years older than him. And then boom, he shook hands with so-and-so, and boom, next thing you know, it was Lyndon B. Johnson's brother. Like, you know.
The military is easy too because everybody shakes each other's hands.
Yeah.
So it's easy communication.
And I mean, like I said, it's really easy with celebrities because, I mean, you go to one Met Gala or whatever, ESPYs, and boom, you got every contact you need in that room.
So the science is assuming everyone knows at least 44 people, and that each of those people know an entirely new 44 people, and so on. The math shows that in just 6 steps, everyone could be connected to 44 to the power of 6, or 7.26 billion people more than are alive on Earth today.
Yeah. So essentially, me.
So if you know 44, if you've met 44 different people that I've never met, which is probably fair to say.
That is not hard at all. There's 60 people in my office that you've never met.
Yeah.
You've met one, but like, I mean, yeah, I mean, look at it as like a tree. Like you put me at the top, 45 people under them, and it doesn't take. It only takes like 3 steps, and we're at like.
And you're not limiting yourself to 45 people. You're limiting. It's everybody that you've ever met.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And really, it could be more than that. I mean, it doesn't have to be 45. It could be the 1,000 people I've met that you've never seen. Interesting concept. You're going to be falling asleep thinking about that, aren't you?
Oh, I'm going to be thinking about that for a while.
We're going to get a text tomorrow, and it's going to be like...
I'm going to disprove it. I'm going to try to disprove it.
I still can't believe that Ship-a-Thesis was the first one on the topic.
That's
hilarious. Yeah. Great callback.
Thought about it today, literally.
I have another one here that I think I'm going to save for Cameron's episode.
Guest experience.
Yeah. Cameron Seeger, a.k.a. one of our best friends, a.k.a. my new brother-in-law, married my younger sister a month ago. Well, it was in April. 2 months ago. Month and a half ago. I don't know.
It's not 2 months yet.
Congrats.
Has it almost been 2 months?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That was a good time.
Yeah, pretty good time.
It's the most I've danced in a while.
Yeah.
Probably the most I've danced ever, to be honest.
Yeah. It's also really interesting. Like, once you guys get married, your wedding will automatically become the best wedding that you've ever been to. Regardless whether... it was like, I'm not just saying that because it was my wedding, but I'm saying like, it seems like everybody had a pretty great time in my wedding. We all danced, went hard.
I suppose. No, I'm just kidding.
There's haters, I'm sure there's haters. That you get married and your wedding will become the best wedding that you have ever had and will ever have gone to.
Well, we've got...
Well, you can say attended.
Not for sentimental reasons, but it's just like, this is the best, most lit night of my life.
Well, I mean, it's everything you wanted.
Yeah. Pretty much. Got all your best friends.
Literally, you said like, this is what I want. If you don't like it, oh well.
Yeah.
You don't have to come.
Got all your best family, all your best friends. Playing some good music. Didn't hear Freebird at my wedding. That was kind of a disappointment. But
I've been putting some bangers on the wedding. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I heard that I am the guy that gets to decide what music is played at your wedding. Is that a true statement?
No, that's dangerous.
Maybe a suggestion.
Well, no. I think she told me that I have the veto power or something. Like if people request songs or something, I have the veto power. Yeah. That's power right there. That is power.
Let's go right down Leonard Skinner's greatest hits.
Like, oh, you want to play Crazy Frog? Yeah, they'll probably love that. That one there. Is there ring-a-ding-ding? They'll be like, we trusted you. Everybody likes Crazy Frog.
That and Baby Shark.
Absolutely, that'll get the veto for sure. I promise you.
Baby Shark. I'll be kind of hyped.
Unless you put that on there.
Baby Shark.
I'd be kind of hyped. I don't know.
What is the song that George and Luke like? This Hotel Transylvania song. Oh man, I'm gonna
look it up.
So I can pull this up.
Look it up on. I don't think I have the YouTube app on that.
I probably shouldn't play from the same.
I'll do it. Don't worry. I think what's the newest one? Hotel Transylvania 3. I think.
Is it? Do you know the song of it?
When I see the name, I will know it.
Why are there so many songs in that
45 songs on this soundtrack.
Just
is it the third? Is it?
No.
I don't think
No,
so.
it's more electric.
Yeah.
Because they go wild.
Wave Rider. Yes.
Instant dance party.
Matt Tucker, if you're listening to this, your sons have good taste in music, and this song is very lit. Anyway, this is from the Hotel Transylvania 3 soundtrack. Maybe a new intro to the podcast. They start getting hyped just at this part.
Oh no,
The whole thing
from
did.
the start. Like,
They hear the little intro and they
one
start.
second.
The wheels start turning. To
You go buck wild.
a little breakdown.
They start doing like little donuts in the middle of the floor.
I seen you do that.
That's unreal, man.
I wonder,
That was probably really loud. Sorry.
you think they're getting hyped to the song or to that part of the movie? Or both?
No, they're doing it just to the song.
Oh yeah,
It's just on YouTube.
Like they've played it at the church. Like we've been in the gym and they'll play it, and they're just out there like, like throwing it down.
I'm
And
telling
going
you,
crazy.
it's instantaneous.
It's like Cocomelon or Baby Shark gets some kids instantly fired up.
Which I would be
Switch
more.
Cocomelon?
I don't have kids, but like I would imagine, like as a parent, an instrumental I could get behind more than.
No lyrics. You ain't gotta worry about. You gotta worry about. bad
Rather than
words.
listen to Baby Shark.
Well, no, you gotta worry about annoying lyrics, is what I'm worried about. Like
no.
Cocomelon?
That's facts. I just added that to the cookout playlist. So.
I've also never listened to Cocomelon, so it could be bangers. But
I just try not to listen to music that people tell me not to listen to.
people tell you not to listen to Cocomelon.
Well, I based off David's reaction, something I probably shouldn't have.
Dude, it's
You're probably like a good 20 years past
on
it.
Netflix. You can pull it up when you go home tonight.
I'm good.
Give it a listen.
Probably a good 20 years past it.
Okay, so yeah, I do have another topic that.
Can I read it, or are you going to keep it?
I mean, I can tell you what it is, and so one of these is a surprise for Jason for Cameron's episode. We're gonna save that, but the one that I was gonna put on this episode that. I was gonna save for Cameron's episode. We'll save it. We'll save it for Cameron's episode. But I'll tell you, it is. This is where the women start to roll their eyes right here, and
Not at the first point. This is the point.
to this statement that I'm about to make. This TikTok that I saw. I just want to preface this with, we all have significant others. I have a spouse. I love her very much. I'm not sexist in any way.
This could go a million different directions.
Yeah, you're not starting off really good.
I'm not sexist. This started out as a funny TikTok that I saw that I was kind of like, that's really funny. Haha, I laughed at it, and then I was like, this might actually be true. I don't know. I haven't done a ton of research, but anyway, the theory on this TikTok was a question proposed, and it was, have more people walked on the moon or women dunked?
Oh!
And this is talking on a 10-foot rim.
Regulation rim.
I mean, I'm sure the WNBA plays on a 10-foot rim. I'm very confident. But for you can double check me here, but men that have walked on the moon of any country, I think the total is 24.
Fact checking you now.
24. 24 men have walked on the moon. And
There's got to be a statistic on
this gets randomly brought up every now and then, and Caroline and Kristen are like, "Oh, brother," you know. I mean, is it true? I don't know.
I've got the number.
Are you looking up the
I've
women?
got the number of professional WNBA players that have made
7.
dunks in WNBA games.
7. And here's my point, and this is why I love the podcast, because when this gets brought up, it's in a circle of us talking in the church parking lot, and I start to make this point, and the screaming starts, and it's like, okay, so I love that I can get this out and we can discuss. So what's 7? I mean, what's that? A quarter of, a little more than a quarter. Yeah. So my point is that is 7 WNBA players all time have dunked. That is the most athletic women
in basketball.
In basketball. I mean,
you got to think track the field.
I'm sure. Now, is there some random woman in Siberia that might can dunk?
But I do have another statistic.
Okay.
But Brittany Griner has dunked 52 times.
No, it's different people.
Games. I know. But
and also there's. We're not going to get into that.
fair.
I don't know.
Even gonna ask.
That only counts as
He's
one.
also 6'9".
That only counts as one. I would lean toward counting that as an NBA dunk versus WNBA dunk, but that's another conversation. Yeah, so 7. I mean, like, okay, my other line of thought here is that let's say there's a minimum height that you can dunk at. Let's say it's 6 foot. Mm-hmm. Let's say, I mean, there's no way to know for sure, but let's say no female under 6 foot can dunk. Go ahead and set all of them aside. That just cut the population of women.
You're saying there's a 99% chance they can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So
let's
let's take every woman 6 foot and above. How many of them are athletic enough to touch rim or grab rim or dunk? Less than half.
I am
probably.
I'm almost 6'6", and I can grab the rim with one hand.
Yeah.
Fingertips.
Yeah.
Fingertips.
And you're a male who are normally a little bit more athletic. We know some very athletic women. We actually had a jumping contest last night with your fiance. She's wanted to come on and talk about that on an episode. But
I think it was pretty close. It was pretty hard to tell who won that.
It was. Yeah. You missed that. You didn't see the did you?
I told you it's time for bed, man.
That's right. Man, we did the sticky notes on the wall and everything. It was a good time.
We had them stand against the wall because I was kind of on her side that she could jump higher than Tyler. Not feet off the ground, but difference between reach and jump. So they stood against the wall, put a sticky note as high as they could reach, and then jumped and put a sticky note above that. And I mean, it was close, but
were you just measuring the difference between like how high
between the sticky
notes? Yeah, between their two sticky notes.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out there's got to be some kind of like ratio. Because obviously he's twice her height. She's not.
I'm gonna say if she
not gonna
jump above your like top sticky note, I'd be
she's not putting a sticky note
like in high school
off the ground.
Like in high school, how they did it.
Yeah,
where you touch it and then you jump and they measure the
Yeah, so that happened. It was pretty entertaining actually. I jumped higher than Tyler.
There are two different. Didn't they do like a 1-step jump?
You get a 1 step and then you get a straight vert.
Yeah, which is much harder.
Yeah, because you just
I think
it's all momentum driven.
I
You
know.
gotta drive up through.
Anyway, yeah. So what do we think about number of women dunking? You kind of follow my train of thought here. Like let's say women 6 foot and above. How many of them are athletic enough to dunk?
I think that was an offhand comment that you made, and it just happened to be correct.
What was an offhand comment?
I think there's probably been more men to walk on the moon than have dunked.
No. That did not originate from me. I saw it on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
that's not how I remember. Okay.
That came out as a blanket statement. I was like, wow.
So is it? How confident am I that is 100% true? Like 40%. But if we sit down and talk about it, I'm like, who knows? Like I said, I'm not sexist. I love women. It's funny. It's a joke.
You love all women?
I respect all women. I love my woman and my mom
just clearing it up.
and my sister. I appreciate women.
Just clearing it up.
Just to build on that, there's only 2 women that have dunked more than once in a WNBA game. I thought I was going to say their career, but still.
One and done.
Well, type the question in and see if somebody's done research.
That's WNBA.com.
No, I mean like have more men on the moon or women.
Okay.
Women dunked.
See what Reddit.
I mean that's not. It's not going to be a post by like New York Times or anything.
You know, there's gonna be one guy on Reddit that's like, I've researched this for 3 years and here are the answers. But no, I originally saw it on TikTok. I was like, haha, that's kind of funny. And I was like, wait a minute, there might be like an ounce of truth.
So you're saying like 6 foot tall and above women are. Your question is, if they're 6 foot or taller, do we think that how about like that 50% of them can dunk or touch rim?
Sorry.
Is there an answer?
No, so either more women need to dunk or they need to send 24 women to the moon for equality.
And the number's only going to go up here in like another year. NASA's sending some more people to the moon in like a year or two. Not NASA. Is NASA doing it?
Good.
But
anyway, gone to the moon?
The men/women on the moon will go up in the next like year or two. And
do we know if it's a men and women?
It will be.
I'm saying people on the moon. as of right now, it's only been men. But like, if 3 women go up to the moon, I'm going to count them as people on the moon versus.
They'll have at least one if they go up again. I'm sure.
But yeah, because I mean, I think it's fair to say 99.999% of 5'7" women will not ever dunk.
I think it's
Is
also
that
just
fair?
a measure of strength, though. Like, I mean, if you've got a woman, how many women do we think possess the strength to vertical?
It's not even strength.
Well, you gotta think 5'7". That's 67 inches, and then 10's 120. So I mean,
Like, what percentage of women? Let's say, how many women are there in the universe? Probably like 3 billion, roughly half, 3.5 billion.
I don't know.
Half of it's about 7.
Yeah. Okay, how many of them are like professional athlete level? A couple million.
Are we basing it off WNBA people that?
I'll say. I mean, I'll.
What's your sample?
I'll throw in. I mean, basketball is probably the best because I'll throw in track. Maybe there's an athletic tennis star that's 6'2". Who knows?
I think the problem here is finding. I just don't know what. I think the better knowing what our sample size is how many women are over 6 foot tall.
If 6 foot's the minimum.
Well, I think that's what we're gonna go with.
Yep.
Only, to be fair, only 0.4% of college athletes become professional athletes. That's 0.4% of people that are playing a sport for their college become a professional athlete. So that's like, you're looking at like 0.1% or less.
You're talking 0.4%
of people playing their sport in
5%
college.
that play it.
Yeah.
And I think it's even smaller for Division when you get to Division I. I believe it's like 0.1 or something. I remember going through high school.
It's harder to jump to pro from a...
not pro, just to get into a D1 school.
This is saying 0.4% from... Oh, you're saying for...
Like if
5% statistically.
Like if you were in high school, like the chances of you making it D1 were like 0.1%. Or it was a small percent, and then the percentage of people going from college to pro was like 0.1 or something.
I mean, it's absurdly low.
Just because of... Which I think's... I don't know how many schools are D1.
We've been lucky to see a couple of local people going like
Yeah.
Chapel Hill and...
Shout out our local high schools.
J. Rob.
what's his name? I went to school with LeVar Batts.
Yes.
Who's the guy that went to Northwest? That
Corey Seager. Corey Seager.
Are you talking about Northside?
the one that went to Chapel Hill.
He went to Concord. That was Leaky.
Leaky, that's right.
Then when Dale went to Cox Mill.
And went to Duke.
It's just crazy because I haven't kept up with those guys, but you'll see people that are like absolutely dominating like the games that you go to, and then you check on them later, and then like it's like...
I mean, it'll be like 2 guys per county every like 5 years. You know.
Yeah.
It's not much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's.
I don't know. I think
Interesting conversation. It would take a lot of research. I just thought it was funny and maybe a hint of truth to that, but I automatically got shot down when I brought that up.
Yeah. Turns out the facts are behind you, but
just out of luck.
That was my main point. Is there's a minimum height to dunk, and then what percentage of like let's say 5 million women are like 6'5" and above. How many of them are athletic enough to dunk? Because just because you're tall doesn't equal. I mean, okay.
I'm a fair point.
If you're 7 foot tall, of course you can dunk. But like to some extent, it's going to take athleticism, and not every 6'3" female is super athletic. You know.
I'm not close to dunking, and I'm 6'5" and a half ish.
Yeah. I should preface
I
this
don't know.
with-
I'd give you 50%.
I mean,
50% of what? 50% of women that are 6'3" can dunk? I feel like that'd be a tough point to
that's a
sell.
lot.
That's
That's
a
a
tough
lot.
point to sell.
Because think about how many guys are over 6 foot. I mean, I would say 6 foot's almost the average now, and I only know a handful of guys personally that can dunk.
I don't know.
I can't at the moment. I will soon.
Putting it like that, I mean, you could
Go ahead
probably
and jot
drop
that
into. When you put it in that kind of perspective, and you're moving it out to just the general public, I mean, I know it's a big swing, but I mean, you're probably thinking, saying touching rim 15%.
I feel like that's still a lot.
I feel like it's high,
I
but
feel like 15%.
I mean,
yeah.
you get me on a good day when I lose about 30 more pounds, I could probably touch.
I think
it.
15% of men that are 6'6" can't dunk. Like under 15% can dunk. That's what I'm saying. Of men that are 6'6". In their 20s, we can narrow it down to 20s and 30s. I mean,
because you also got to factor in age.
yeah, just narrow it down to 20s and 30s.
Well, no, I guess that's not fair to say because the people that have been on the moon haven't been there in 60 years. So I mean, if they're 55 right now, they may have dunked back then. I don't know. It's
They're on the moon, they could dunk.
That's fair.
fair. I'll give you that. Yeah.
I think your percentage goes up a
It's
lot.
like,
Fair side
like
point.
3 women bring up a basketball, go to the moon, and they're like, the number just went up. I would respect. I can't even be mad about it. I mean, you kind of net zero there because you you added. I guess.
But then
work.
you would change your classification to factoring in gravity.
And you'd also have the fact that it was women on the moon. I don't know if we're gonna count women on the moon in that men on.
Because the original statement was men on the moon.
Yeah, I don't know. Funny to discuss.
I did read that SpaceX is sending people to the moon, to the surface in 2025 and 2027.
Sick. I'm see if I can sign up.
No, y'all can have that.
A couple $1 billion, I'm sure. It's all yours.
Space will probably come up so much on this podcast.
I sure
'cause
hope so.
We love space. We love the ocean. Megalodons.
Just give me the topic.
Give
me something to be ready to speak on. And I can do that for
you do
sure.
your research. Come on.
Yes. Or just have my thoughts together is really what it is.
There we go. I like it. How we feel about the flying by the seat of our pants here? Me just firing off.
I liked it.
Okay.
I think it works.
On the note of D1 players, did you see the air conditioned helmets
I saw that.
that,
No
LSU has
Yeah.
now?
Yep. They have it for the rest of the season.
No.
Yeah. They're I
In
don't know.
what?
I don't know if
Football.
they're in football. I don't know if they're prototypes or if they're like. I would imagine they're getting used this season.
They were telling him that no, we have these for the rest of the season.
Yeah, because dude was like, it was like one of their linemen putting on an air conditioned helmet. He's like, this thing feels good. Like this cold air swirling around.
Shot.
And he's like, how long we have these? And he's like, you got them the rest of the year. This is yours. Like, that's all that I did. I didn't research how it works or anything like that.
I
But
just saw it.
I
Well,
don't.
it's battery fed.
Okay.
Gotta be.
Yeah, I mean,
They got.
They said it lasts 5 hours.
Yeah.
In the TikTok.
yeah. So that's a whole afternoon. Do you have like a wireless charging pad for your helmet, like in your locker? You go up and throw it on the
There's an
charger.
Apple magnet.
That'd be kind of sick, like an iPad size wireless charger.
Forget to plug in your helmet that your team loses the game.
So what is it?
I guess it's just little tiny fans. Yeah, it's gotta be. I don't know. Or if you just, I don't know if they cram ice packs in their pads. Like
I can
in the
see.
helmet.
I can see your phone if I wanted to. I can see what you're looking on Firefox.
Interesting. You use Firefox on your phone?
No, I use Safari, but
It carries over, I guess.
you're on Safari, dog.
Caroline,
Yeah, but it's showing up as Firefox.
Caroline,
Right?
if you're watching the video version, this is for you.
She loves when you do that. Oh, you're seeing if you're in the Matrix?
That's what I think every time I do that. Like one of these times, it's gonna be like
It's
Inception.
gonna not fall over.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Inception, and it's gonna be like 10 minutes will have passed. I'm gonna look down and it's still spinning. I'm gonna be like, "Is this real?"
I've only watched it once.
That's for you if you're watching. It's been for audio only listeners. That was my wedding ring spinning on the table. I like to play with it, and she does not like that, understandably. But I'm gonna be very careful not to lose it. I haven't lost it yet, so knock on wood.
Tiger Air, who helped develop the helmet, do not develop football helmets. Instead, it develops the Cyclone V2, an air accelerator, which can be installed inside protective equipment. Football helmets included to provide airflow to players.
So not only do you have a sick invention, but you got a sick name too, like the Cyclone V2.
Oh yeah.
Let me get that in my helmet. How would you like that?
Oh, dude. Oh,
You're
it'd be completely different. I mean,
Jason's like, frick! Why was that not boring?
I had a Revolution, a Rydell Revolution 360, and that was top tier. And I thought I was.
You weren't even sniffing AC in that thing.
No.
Were
No, there was no. I mean, you had a couple breathe holes, but that was it.
In Robinson and varsity, some players were playing offense and defense,
Yeah, yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah.
I know Hyatt
That
was.
happens a lot of places, yeah.
Yeah, well now
Especially middle school.
Robinson's 2A now. They got to.
Yeah.
Dude, I could not imagine. Like,
And the thing that I thought was funny is they're practicing indoors, like they're LSU's indoor dome. But
it says it's like
AC helmet.
it says. I looked at the experimenting article and it's like they were trying to get the last 8 hours because that would cover any overtime game. I don't know what the longest college.
Well, it's not like they can't just hot swap the helmets if they really needed to.
But I mean,
I guess they're all custom molded, so it might be difficult. But
I mean, I couldn't imagine.
We're gonna have to get one of them little like Joe Rogan kind of TVs behind you, so we can just throw whatever up on.
oh yeah, you think they just put an Apple TV up there?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Be easy.
We kind of.
But I mean, just
Apple if you want to.
Apple doesn't make TVs.
No, they make an Apple TV, and I can plug that into my Roku TV.
That's true.
But I get it though. I mean, they've had the past couple of years. They have had a couple fatalities due to heat exhaustion. I think that's just a way to curb
I had a
it.
friend go to the hospital for it. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They put him in the ice bath and everything on the side of the
Oh
field.
yeah. That was a bad game. I was on the sideline for that game.
Oh yeah, I was hot in the stands.
Yeah, you gotta.
It was like over 100 degrees, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, they ran out of buckets for ice baths.
Jeez.
Like, and we were. I mean, I think we had 4 players go down. One of them was just laid out on the turf, and they couldn't even get his shoulder pads off, so they just started stuffing ice buckets or ice packs up on them. It was brutal. We were dropping like flies out there.
Yeah, it was bad.
That was my freshman year, and I remember going to that game. It was opening night, and it was like 98 degrees outside. And
That was opening night,
yeah,
first game of the season.
Yeah, we opened with the rivalry against Cox Mill, and I mean, it was. I mean, it had to have been on the field 107, 108, and the humidity and sun didn't go down for like half the
You're
game.
talking like 115, 120 under the pads. Like
Oh,
bare
yeah.
skin is like steaming.
And then they just, I remember they come off like they were. Some of them just, you just they was like, and then the offense couldn't do anything. So then the defense was taking a beating. I mean, offense was on the sideline; they couldn't move the ball.
And then Hyatt was going from making a play on the offense, immediately switching and making a play on the defense.
I was like me. We've been playing church softball the past, I guess, like I almost said semesters. We don't really go by semesters. Fall and this spring, we've been playing church league softball. And a couple weeks ago, I started getting, I guess, a shin splint / cramp kind of thing. Brutal, having to run out to the outfield, chasing down balls is horrible. I kind of didn't want to play, but you know, I'm a trooper, tough through. Anyway, so I was in pain starting like the second inning, and like coming during the first inning, I had just I come back, and like 2 batters later, they're like, "Hey, we need you. Can you go be a runner?" And I was like, I guess. I mean, my ankle went or my leg went hurting super bad at the time, and then I mean, by the time I got to first base, it was an absolute nightmare. I was like, "This is awful." One, I'm tired because I just ran. I think I scored. I was like, "Okay, so now I'm out of breath because I just ran." And I got to run again on a hurt leg.
It's not far, but that's sprinting at 100%.
Yeah,
And probably right after that, you had to run out the outfield.
Yeah.
And then probably right after that, they hit something to left field. And you
yeah.
jump on
And
it.
it's like, you know, you run out, you make a play, catch a ball, now run back to the dugout, strap on the batting gloves, go out there, bat, run. It was like,
I need to throw away my batting gloves anyway.
yeah. If you're listening to this and want to watch some good softball, come. I think we're gonna start a summer league, or not start a summer league, but
Yeah,
we're gonna run it back.
I just can't imagine. It's it's fans with tubes directing the air, so they can.
Right.
So like you can literally put the helmet on. They can just say, "Oh, I want." They can find the hot spot on your head and just cool that down.
I wonder if you can like hear it, like if you have the hot mics on, if it'd be like. I wonder if it's like. Shh. I didn't hear it in the video.
Sounds like you're fan when we get.
It's probably all you probably need is like little tiny little fans.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, I just think. I mean, how durable is this fan going to be? How
Literally
protected is
anything
it?
to get that 125 degree air out of there is going to be an improvement.
But I mean,
you don't have to.
You got to think about the durability
Just the
of the
movement
fan.
of the air.
Yeah, literally.
But think about the fan though, like itself. Like if you play, like, I mean, because even when you're in practice, you're not taking. I mean, unless you're going, they say go 100. I mean, I don't think you're taking that big of a beating on, like up top. Because I mean, a lot of them don't play in pads; they just play in shells, with shoulder pads and helmets.
They tell you to go 100 in high school practice.
Oh yeah, we had to run if we didn't, or we were out there.
That's
like,
how you break yourself in practice.
But I mean, it's how you get better. But I mean, you always have
I see
people
what
that
you're
just
saying.
want to take plays off, which I mean, I did myself. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's just some days you weren't feeling it. But
Little breaking news
You're
here.
telling me you didn't put 100% into weightlifting every day that you went?
oh, you didn't have a choice.
What a loser. He did. A little breaking news: the Denver Nuggets have just taken a 2-1 lead on the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. Cool.
I just can't get over there doing air conditioning.
It's pretty sick.
But like, I mean, I just think like if you take a shot to the head, like especially a defensive lineman or a linebacker, like because you're experiencing a car crash each time. I think it goes like 35 miles an hour in high school, 45 miles an hour head-on collision in college, and then it goes like 55 miles an hour in professional every time at the line of scrimmage.
It's tough.
Like, how does that fan and battery stay connected and not just break after?
It's got to be like solid.
Because you probably average. I mean, in high school, you got 12-minute quarters. You're averaging 70 to 85 plays.
You know what I just realized?
What?
We said we were gonna save that Men on the Moon conversation for Cameron's episode.
Oh yeah. We just went all the way.
We went all in. Sorry, Cameron. We can rehash. We can get your.
We
thoughts.
can do research.
We'll do research. We'll come back more
research
prepared. Whenever we have
Yeah.
Cameron on for an episode, we can discuss. My bad on that one. We kind of got carried away.
I feel like we don't want to keep the listeners listening too long. We're at an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, that went.
That's
quick.
pretty darn
That's
good for
insane.
the first podcast.
That's what I'm saying.
That's long.
We also had an introduction, probably 15 minutes.
Yeah,
That's
the women.
true. That's true.
The women are long gone.
We're to our target audience now. I mean, but if women want to listen, I mean, by all means.
I'm fine with the
But, I
women
mean-
listening. We'll try to find some topics that maybe they like a little bit. The only other thing that I had written down was the new 3D scans of the Titanic. I don't know if you saw those either.
No,
They're
I haven't.
pretty sick. You should pull up a picture and look at them. So they
Is it
took.
LiDAR? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
That
Basically,
crap's
They
sick.
scanned the entire debris field, like several square miles. They took like 700 or 900,000 pictures, like 3D scans of the ocean floor and of the wreck.
16 terabytes. Smithsonian.
And it is the coolest pictures I've ever. I mean, because it's pitch black down there, you can't see.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know.
Imagine the darn flashlight they put down there to take that picture.
We all know. Well, that's just a scan.
They're taking
Like,
scans
oh,
and they're
it's
like
a 3D rendering. But
okay.
But like, it's the coolest images I've ever seen. Like, look at that.
Wow. Yeah.
That's so
That's
cool.
nuts.
You know, I mean, if you Google search it, you see the old painting from like the 80s where somebody tried to draw it. But
Wow.
I mean,
that
it's,
picture right there is nuts.
yeah, that's impressive. And I've seen one of the back too. And this was just done a couple months ago. They just finished it and released this. But I love the ocean. I get carried away watching Titanic YouTube videos sometimes.
Anyone interested in the vessel's history will be able to use the model to walk through the ship virtually as if the water has been drained away.
That's sick.
That's like that show. What is it? Drain the Oceans or
Yeah.
Drain the Seas or
Or
whatever.
like Life After Earth, those kind of
Yeah.
old shows. Yeah. So I guess they sent one of the little rovers like down all the hallways, or maybe it scans. I bet it scans through stuff.
Yeah. They discovered that one of the lifeboats was never launched.
Oh,
New
wow.
information.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I just saw that. I saw that article pop up the other day, and I was like, "That is sick." Like,
But-
I mean, it's so clear and perfect, and I mean, they.
That's
found-
quite an impressive rendering.
Yeah. Look this up if you haven't. New 3D scans of the Titanic, because they have the back section too, and the debris field. They found a megalodon necklace.
Well, I'm
somebody-
telling. Side note: the megalodon's real. I think he's
Currently.
still out there. I've seen pictures, satellite pictures from a freaking airplane that they caught something going up like near New York, and they compared it to a boat, and it was 3 times as large.
You're also famously known for believing things that are just clearly fake pictures.
I do get suckered into stuff like that, but
No, we'll have I'll add the megalodon conversation to the list, and we can absolutely talk about that in a minute.
the Meg movie proves it.
Yes, watch the Meg if you have not seen
Shout
it.
out to
Sharknado.
Jessica.
Sharknado, another good one.
Do
Watch
not.
Titanic if you have not seen it. Good movie.
I've seen that one, but there's also
Yeah.
whale sharks.
Anyway, yeah, they found a necklace that somebody they knew was down there, but they obviously never found it. And they came across it in those scans, and it's like a huge megalodon tooth on like a gold necklace. And you're not, since the Titanic is like a protected, I guess.
Almost like a sanctuary kind of.
Yes, since it's protected, you can't
Remove anything.
you can't remove anything from it. But they're trying to find like relatives of the person that had it, and basically they can get their permission and go
That'd be
get it.
cool.
Yeah, which would be sick.
Person immediately becomes rich.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that crap just goes to a museum, but yeah, I would absolutely sell that for like $400 million.
And to be fair,
No, you'd give it to a museum, you mean?
For $400 million.
but I mean, to be fair, there was room on the raft for old son to get on the raft.
On the door.
The door, you mean?
The door.
There's a whole door.
On the door,
There's a door.
yeah, on
Yeah.
the door. There was room.
You're not very considerate.
Yeah, Rose, you killed it, man.
That's all there is to it.
Should let him go too.
And literally after saying I won't, and just, I mean, what did you?
Poor
Is the
Leonardo.
ice get into your brain and you just forgot that?
Yeah.
I mean, the same scene was 30 seconds later. Just, oh,
She was hypothermic.
yeah, right.
The
Yeah,
fans froze up.
She had the fans in her helmet, in her dress.
Yeah. And then every time I was like, there is 100% room on that door.
Yeah. And then literally immediately the boat
myth-
comes by with the whistle.
The Mythbusters,
Right after.
the Mythbusters tested the door thing and found out you could fit like 4 people in it.
R.I.P. the Mythbusters.
What a great show.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Tyler said we're going a little long. I mean, if people let us know, all 8 people we have following us right now, please like and share this, please.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean,
If
if
you're
you,
45 minutes to an hour and 10, 15, I feel like that's the golden
I think
number.
this was pretty well. I mean, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
conversation flowed well. I mean, I think the male audience will be very interested in
Yeah.
listening to this conversation. That's a good listen.
It's not like we covered bounced between 15 different topics, which is what I'm afraid we would do.
It was like 3 main ones and a couple little branch offs.
Right.
Sponsored
Which
by.
is bound to happen.
Yeah. But I mean, let us know if you also, any of our friends that know of some of these arguments we've had, if you can think of any other ones, text them to me, DM them on our Instagram at Smokin Boots Podcast.
I'm sure there's hundreds.
Yeah, I'm also trying to figure out how to get the email link in the bios so that people can submit questions or.
Oh yeah, because if you have a topic that you think's very,
It doesn't even have to
argumentative.
be an argument we've had. It could be I saw this on TikTok
Or me and my friend were talking about this the other day.
yeah, or current. I mean, I'll freaking talk anything. I mean, of course we love sports, we love video games, we love.
They didn't even talk about video games. It's gonna be a whole next episode.
Yeah, all kinds of good stuff. Yeah, send us in some thoughts. I mean, if you want to hear us talk for 2 hours, this was actually way easier than I thought
Yeah.
to go an hour and 10, 15
Yeah,
minutes.
agreed.
So if you want to hear us do a 2-hour podcast, I could do it. I could do it. We'll have to start a little earlier so Jason can get to sleep. His eyes are looking a little creepy over
yeah,
there.
it is. It is getting
At the moment, but
We are sitting at 11:17. 6 a.m. comes early.
yeah.
Figure out how we want to end this. Might be one of us picks a Bible verse every week or something. What do you think?
We can. I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to too closely copy another podcast
That's
does
fair.
this. I do.
We'll have to
I
think
mean,
about it.
they don't necessarily do that.
What this time let's just go around, and since we don't know for sure how we're gonna include Jesus into it, like I don't know if
The
we need to do like a gospel focus.
I mean,
each time, but I think we could at least just go through and share our life Bible verse.
That's tough. I have an app on my phone that gives me like a verse of the day. I'm sure it's different than the other ones.
I feel like we want to be more personal.
I've also got a book I've had at my desk at work that I've been reading in the mornings. It's like a daily devotional kind of thing, and it's like one page. You know, it's got a verse, and then we could read that. We could just draw inspiration from that. I don't know. We can think about that because I do think that's important.
That should be the goal for a podcast too. We have that locked in.
We're all believers.
Without
In the end, if we can use this podcast to reach new people, glorify the Lord, I think that's
So definitely
a chance. If we can save one person, then this podcast was a success. I would call it.
agreed.
Even with $0. I mean, I would be sad, but I would be happy that person's in eternity with us.
Yeah, we get to see it when we leave.
Yeah.
I'll share my life Bible verse because I knew mine. There's obviously a lot of other ones out there, but the one that I've used and hold dear to me is Matthew 19, verse 26. Jesus is talking, and he's earlier in the passage he talks about how it's easier, or it's harder for a rich man to go through an eye of a needle, or harder for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than it is for a rich man to go to heaven. But in verse 26, Jesus says, he looked out of the NLT. Jesus looked at them intently and said, "Humanly speaking, it is impossible, but with God, everything is possible." And I think I take for granted a lot of times, and take for granted God's strength because I like to do things on my own. I think it's more of a pride thing that I can prove to myself and prove to others that I did this on my own and didn't need anybody's help. And I think I can overlook that for sure and rely on myself too much, and I end up falling short and end up making a bigger mess out of it than if I just relied on God, that I know that He could handle it and get me through it. And that goes for anything. I mean, I know with a wedding coming up, I know me and John Tyler have weddings coming up and new challenges we're going to be facing. Not challenges, but new chapters. And
Challenges.
I'm sure challenges will be there. I know for one right now is trying to buy a house. I mean, just looking for wisdom and knowing God's right there with me, and that the situation that I'm in and that whoever's in, you may not be able to do it yourself, but you may just need to turn your eyes to the Lord and ask Him for help, because He's at the door knocking. He's just waiting on you to open it.
That's right.
I mean, I can go. Were you gonna comment? Or?
I think we should just do one a week, right?
One a week.
Keep it short, simple, to the
I like
point.
that. I spent time on that.
It can be it can be a verse or a devotional message.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I can read my verse. It's not.
Okay.
Mine comes from Matthew chapter 5, and it's a chapter after the famous passage where Jesus gives them the "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." And they get off the boat, and Jesus has large crowds following him. I have this verse on my golf bag. If you've ever played golf with me and wondered what Matthew 5:16 is on my golf bag, a long time ago, I played a tournament on like a Saturday tournament, and I was like, I think it would be cool to have some way to kind of like the Barnabas shirt that I'm wearing. Shout out Barnabas if you want to sponsor us. Have like a shirt.
2 brand ambassadors.
Have a shirt. Yeah, 2 brand ambassadors now. If I'm wearing the shirt out in public and somebody sees it, maybe it's a gospel opportunity. Who knows? Anyway, I was like, I want to do something like that on my golf bag. And originally I just had it written in my little scorecard holder. And I found this verse that I thought was cool. Bought a bag, they embroidered it for free, and I put this verse on there. Anyway, sorry. The verse reads, "In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." And I mean, I think that kind of speaks kind of to what we want to do with the podcast. I mean, we're doing this for fun. Not necessarily the fame and fortune. The fortune would be nice. The fame, I could take or leave. But like we said, we do want to find a way to tie it back into the gospel, and I think that verse kind of sums it up well. We'll do all of this in hopes that we glorify the Lord. So that's all I got. Pretty good first episode, I think.
Think so. Do we want to end it on a slogan or something, or a saying?
I think you praying it out would be a good way.
All right.
Until we come up with
with the way, I think praying it out is good, and I think we can keep that going.
Yes,
All right.
I like it.
Dear God, thank you for giving this night together. Our schedules aren't always perfectly aligned, so we appreciate the time that we got to spend here together tonight. Hopefully reach out to some new members, maybe build a community, get some new people coming to church. We appreciate everything that you put together to get us here, all the technology working for us. Let's just hope that continues in the future. Amen.
Amen. Like, subscribe. Peace.